All right, if you're trying to master English vocabulary, maybe for a big exam or for your career, you're in the right place. We're about to transform your entire approach. So forget about memorizing those endless lists of words. Let's explore a smarter way that actually works. Does this look a little too familiar? You spend hours, maybe even days, memorizing these giant vocabulary lists, and you feel pretty good about it. But then, a week later, poof, the words have just vanished. It's such a frustrating cycle, but I've got good news. It's probably not a problem with your memory. It's a problem with the method. So let's start by figuring out what's really going on here. Why is that traditional method so inefficient for our brains? Think about it this way. Learning vocabulary alphabetically is kind of like trying to understand a new city just by reading a phone book. I mean, sure, all the information is technically there, but there's no connection, right? There's no story, no context. And our brains, well, they're wired for stories and connections, not for random disconnected facts. Okay, so if the old way is broken, what's the fix? Let's get into a much smarter, way more brain-friendly approach. This slide really breaks it down. We're essentially trading in that old, inefficient method for a new one that's built on how our brains actually like to learn. By grouping words by theme and learning them in context, we're shifting from a system that's basically designed for forgetting to one that is built for long-term retention. It's a total game changer. So let's put this into practice, shall we? Our first thematic group is absolutely perfect for the corporate world. These are words you're going to hear in meetings, see in reports, and use in project discussions. Our first word is adamant. You use this when someone is just completely unshakable in their opinion. They refuse to change their mind. For example, you could say, "My manager was adamant that the deadline could not be moved." It's a really powerful word that shows strong conviction. Next up, we have devise. Now, this isn't just a fancy way to say create. It implies a lot of careful thought and planning went into it. When you devise a strategy, you are basically engineering a solution. It's a fantastic verb for talking about innovation and problem solving. You know, every project runs into challenges. Well, hindrance is a more formal and professional way of saying obstacle or something that gets in the way. Saying poor internet was a hindrance just sounds so much more articulate than saying it was a problem, don't you think? And rounding out this group, we have cumbersome. This word is perfect for describing a process or maybe a piece of software that's just slow, inefficient, and really difficult to use. It immediately gets across that feeling of frustration and signals that, hey, we need an improvement here. Let's move on to our next theme and see how this all builds up. This next group is all about the language you'd use in a debate, in academic rating, or anytime you need to express a strong opinion. Okay, so if you advocate for something, you are publicly supporting a cause or a policy. It's a lot stronger than just saying you support it. An advocate is an active, vocal champion for an idea. This is an absolutely crucial word for essays and debates. Here's a great one if you want to sound more formal and decisive. Instead of just saying, "I agree," you can say, "I concur." It implies that you've considered the evidence and have arrived at the exact same conclusion. You'll hear this a lot in business and academic settings. Rebuke is a very strong, very formal word for expressing sharp disapproval or criticism. It's not just a simple scolding. It carries a lot of weight and suggests a serious reprimand, usually coming from someone in a position of authority. A diatribe is way more than just criticism. It's a long, bitter, and angry verbal attack. It's basically when someone goes on a rant. Recognizing this word is super helpful because it allows you to identify arguments that are maybe a little too emotional and biased. Okay, so we've grouped our words by theme, which is great. But how do we actually lock them into our long-term memory so they don't disappear? Well, this is where the second part of our method comes into play. This right here is the secret to making those words stick. It's called spaced repetition. Instead of cramming, you review the words at increasing intervals. After an hour, then a day, then a week, and you keep going. This process signals to your brain that this information is important, and it moves it from your fragile short-term memory to permanent long-term storage. It almost feels like a brain hack, but it's pure neuroscience. And this chart just proves the point. Look at that first bar. That's cramming. Notice how retention just plummets almost immediately? But now look at the second bar for spaced repetition. Retention stays incredibly high. That right there is the difference between temporarily memorizing a word and truly owning it. Now it's time to bring all of this together and really set you on the path to true vocabulary mastery. And this is the core idea right here. You need to stop focusing on the quantity of words you're trying to memorize. Instead, focus on the quality of your learning process, because that is what creates real, lasting fluency. So here's your action plan. First, just ditch the A to Z lists for good. Second, start grouping new words by themes that are actually relevant to your life. Third, use a spaced repetition system. And finally, and this part is absolutely critical, start using these words. Write your own sentences, make them yours. And with that, we're done here. But your real learning journey begins right now. Think back to the words we just covered: adamant, devise, hindrance, concur. Your mission is to pick one of them and use it today, in an email, in a meeting, or just in a conversation. So I'll leave you with this one question. What new word will you master today?